All right, guys, I want to explain something to you real quick, just to clear up some confusion from the previous video. This is a little out of order, but I just want to explain this. So listen up. Let's go inside here real quick. All right, guys, real quick in here. See, remember that from the last video? We banded those. I know a lot of people said that's bad. Don't do that. Why would you do that? I've never done that before. We're cutting 10 bushel wheat, guys. 10 bushel. 10 bushel wheat. So what the problem is, all that threshing was taking place up here. It was dropping down in the first few modules, which is supposed to, and there was no grain left to even get to here. But yet we had those skip wires in here, which we shouldn't have had all these years. I don't know why we had those. We did. And it's just dumping mog, chaff onto your cleaning area, which is then overloading your combine's cleaning, which is making your tank dirtier than it should be. Makes a mess of stuff. So the Case IH expert told us and said, you should put small wire across the whole thing. And then that will kick that mog out better and still give some room for the grain to fall down. We didn't have enough small wire. So he said, okay, well, you can take your skip wires, plate them, and that'll work like the small wire. It'll obviously be a little tighter, but it'll work in a 10 bushel crop, 15 to 10 bushel crop. That's what he said it'll work in. And it worked great. When we did it, our losses went way down. What was on the ground looked good. It was clean in the tank. We were happy. Then I got into 30 bushel spring wheat, which this video might be a little out of order because of this. And we were losing stuff out the back, and the tank, well, the tank was fine, but grain loss was going up. So I took it back. We pulled out the number 3 left and right and put in a large wire because that's what we had on hand. We don't have any more small wires. We got to get more. We just don't have enough. We're just using with what we have. Got back in the field, and guess what? It worked great. Loss on the ground went way down. Tank stayed clean. Combine's running like a champ. It's running awesome right now because we're in 30 bushel wheat. So we tripled the amount of grain going in the combine from 10 bushel an acre to 30 bushel an acre. So we had to make a modification. That's why. That rear one is still blocked because we're not cutting 50 bushel wheat. So here's what I'm trying to get at. The reason we did those modifications is because we were in 10 bushel wheat, 15, 10 bushel wheat. Optimally, we would have done small wire through the whole thing. We didn't have enough small wire, so we had to do what we did. Now that we're in a little bit heavier wheat, 30 bushel, 25, 30, we took one out and put a large wire in there. So it gave a little bit more room for the kernels to fall down. So those are the kind of modifications we're doing. I just wanted to make that very clear with you guys because I might not have made it clear and people are probably going, I harvest 100 bushel irrigated ground and you're telling me to put those covers in the back of that thing? That's nuts. Absolutely, that is nuts. You should not do that in 100 bushel grain. 10 bushel grain, like we're harvesting. Got it? Okay, keep watching the video.
Okay, we have another box from May West. These are some more, I believe, some protection plates, wear plates for the front of the middle of the header. All right. So, yeah, here are the 4 plates that go right in the front. So there's 4 of these. And then we've got a set to finish out this header. We didn't quite get enough at the beginning for both headers, and so this package came, and I'm going to be putting on this one here in the front so that we can protect the middle of the platform because we're going to be cutting low all harvest. And this will really protect the underneath the cutter bar where it really takes a lot of abuse there because that's the full weight of the header. The ends are spring loaded and so they kind of bounce around so they don't do as much wearing as far as friction, but in that middle part it's got to lift the whole header. These May West guards for the bottom of the platform for the MacDon come in 2 parts. You need to assemble them, so it's a fairly quick process. Okay, let me show you where they go. Here's the front of the header. As you can see, it has to lift all of that up, and these will fit right underneath this area right here. So there's already bolts there. There were some old ones. Whoop. So I'm just going to mount it right there like that. And then we'll put 4 of them right across here. Then this surface is going to be protected. Before you start a project on these headers, when you're going to get anywhere around the underneath side of them, make sure you... Uh-oh, somebody's in error. There, what I was saying before, that hose interrupted me, and that fortunately just stayed in one place, so there was no run of the hose. Anyway, this is what you need to do right here. Make sure you secure that safety latch in case a hose breaks on hydraulics. Talk about a flat earth, it'll be a flat me. All right, what I have done is I've got the second one in skid plate on from May West. I got a little windy here. No, not because I'm talking, but it is actual wind. But anyway, and then these skid plates along the front, and now I have just this one left. I'm going to show it to you. They've got a real metal backing plate, then the replaceable nylon skid plate. So I'm just gonna attach this one on, and then we're done. I'm gonna turn you upside down. Don't get sick. All right, ready to get grounded.
Now that we're back in the yard at the 4520, it's getting a little hot. All it takes is one load and it gets hot. So something's clearly not right. We've got a couple of assumptions. It could be the thermostat's stuck and not opening up, so we're gonna check that now. Could be the radiator's full of junk and needs flushed, needs acid bath. So that's the second thing we might do, flush the radiator. Third thing could be possibly because this is a combine engine and it's set to be running at like 2400 RPM is the typical operating RPM of this engine. We're not running at that the way the cam's set up, it's just not getting enough air from the turbo to run the engine properly, and it's building up heat. So that could be an issue as well, but it's getting progressively worse, which makes us think that water pump could be bad, thermostat could be plugged, radiator could be plugged. So I'm gonna go buy a bunch of CLR, some of that calcium buildup stuff, and I'm gonna take this apart. I'm gonna put a bunch in this radiator and let it sit for a bit too, and then back flush it and do the thermostat, and hopefully have a nice cool running John Deere. Is that what we want, right? We don't want hot Deeres, especially the ones that burn. Those are really hot. I figure those two.
That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's nasty. This fluid's pretty gross. We're gonna put new fluid in it. Well, now we got the nasty fluid out. We got some thermostats on order. They're not gonna be here for a couple days, so we'll just put them back in for the time being and maybe just run water for now. And then when we get the new thermostats, then we'll drain the water out, put the new thermostats in, and then put clean fluid in it then. Because, well, it's not gonna freeze anytime soon, so a week or so of running with just water is actually probably gonna be more efficient than coolant. So with that said, I got this jug of this nasty stuff, muriatic acid, and I'm gonna mix up a blend, 50-50 muriatic acid, 50% distilled water, and I'm gonna put it in the top, and I'm gonna flush this radiator 2 or 3 times in like 20-minute intervals. I know muriatic acid is amazing at getting rid of minerals, but it's also can eat metal away. So I don't want to leave it in there very long, and then I'll clean flush it a couple times once I get that done. But I think that's probably the best bet. Some people say CLR, there's other stuff to use, but from what I've read and seen, I think muriatic acid's the best bet to do it in one time. So, got a tube on here. That way I can fill her up without coming out of the bottom. And let's see what kind of junk we get out of this thing. I bet it's gonna be nasty. All right, let's drain it. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, well, definitely some chunks in there. Not as much as I was expecting, but it's probably just dissolved it all. So yeah, I just went and brought the water truck over. We're gonna take the 2-inch line off the pump on that. And I'm gonna hook it to this. I'm gonna make a mess. But we're gonna blast, reverse flush this baby with some clean water. So, and this won't be distilled, obviously. But back flush it. I think that's a great way to help release all the stuff that got loosened up by the muriatic acid mix. And then we'll put clean fluid in it. See how it runs. Back off a little. No, you're fine. Good. Yeah, it's coming out a lot clearer now. All right. We flushed it. There's a lot of chunk that came out. It kept coming out milky white for a while. I got a nice little bath, but don't worry. I dumped a couple buckets of clean water through the system after the muriatic acid, so it was pretty flushed from that, so I didn't worry about getting a nice little bath, and I feel good. But there's actually a lot of rusty residue that came out, so I think they did a good job. That's one way to flush it. 2-inch pump. They didn't run full blast, but that's a lot of water going in that thing the opposite direction it's supposed to. So yeah. All right, you know what, guys, I think we're just about time to go to the field. Springweed is knocking on the door. Flags are flapping really nice. Old Glory there looking beautiful as ever. I think I might change something up this year. Do something a little different, you know. Kind of symbolic of the times that we're in right now. Got Old Montana up there. That's a good flag. I like that flag. Can't get rid of Old Glory because, well, that one just looks too good. So, let's upgrade. I can hear it. I can hear it.
All right, we are now starting our 2021 spring wheat harvest. Got Clifford here. Been running them with the LSWs. Clifford likes his new paws. I like him even better. We got the flag up, let freedom ring. And I'd say that's a kernel of truth. We need to let the grain be free from the head. Okay, here we go. Awesome, 4-wheel drive. It's perfect. Okay, put this over here. How's the air conditioner? Let's get that baby going. Bring the steering wheel closer. All right, well, Kobe, you ready? You ready? Huh? Let me move that out of the way. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna give you an update. Yeah, you just got done with that commercial, so you're probably ready for some real live important stuff. Anyway, yep, so just pretty much still in the same field. It's running around averaging about 14. So that's respectable for as bad as this year has been. And the wheat generally looks good. I think it's maybe around 57 pounds. So that's good that we have that kind of weight, you know, because I thought maybe it'll be around that lower 50s, which is really light for wheat. But no, we're doing very well. So I mean, under the conditions, the wheat is at fairly decent height. We are cutting fairly close to the ground, but we are cutting off all the heads, and they are coming in. So I'm going to give you kind of a view across here. Anyway, that's the update. Cutting right along. The first truck went to the bin, so that's the first of hopefully many. So our harvest 2021 spring wheat is officially happening. So, all right, I'll catch you at the next commercial break.
This is the first load of spring wheat we're taking to the bin. 2021 spring wheat. Hey, it actually doesn't look too bad. The quality of the wheat looks fairly decent considering the year, but the bushels are definitely down. Yeah, but at least I'm trucking and they're cutting, so that's good.
Stuck out to the field. And we cut 120 acres done. Going fast, going really fast, going up to 7 miles an hour fast. As long as I don't keep scooping rocks in like I've been doing. But we're going down with this one, just finished. You can see my AccuSync monitor right here. Well, Pro 700 with the AccuSync on here. Dad and I just finished up. And we're heading to the next one. And it ran about 14, 15 bushel. So this is the first planting, so we'll see where the next goes, but this land's a little tougher. It's a little bit less organic matter in the soil, so I expect better from here on out. Overall, sample's not too bad. It's looking good. Not a lot of unthreshed kernels in there. It might look like on the video, but it's actually not that bad. A lot of smaller kernels, but overall, it's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. So I guess moral of the story, or bottom line is, it's not as bad. Now, just so you guys know, these combines have seat belts. And normally I don't wear it in equipment, but last year, a farmer back east was cruising down the road in his combine and his header fell off and it drove over it and launched him out of the combine through the front windshield. He survived with actually minimal injuries, but most people don't. So that's why you should wear a seatbelt when you're going down the road. When I'm in the field harvesting, I usually don't because your header's on the ground. If it fell off, you're just gonna push it and you're only going 5-6 miles an hour. You're going down the road at 20-25 miles an hour, that could be bad news. So yeah, wear your seatbelt in a combine. Highly recommended. I know I'm gonna get asked, how wide are your headers? These are 45-foot, 2152 Case IH headers, built by Macron. Great headers, we like them a lot. We've got some use on them. After this year, they're gonna need a little bit of patching in some areas, little metal's getting thin. A couple bearings probably need replaced. But overall, they're good headers. Good match for this combine, really. There's Dad, and there's Dad. See how I cut the headlands off first? He started on this side, I started on this side, and we're working our way out like that. That's pretty sweet. What's not sweet though is that. Running 10 bushels an acre here. But I am doing about 30 acres an hour. That's pretty good. That's it. Finished the field. I think we're gonna call it. I'll just dump in leg arms here and then we'll pick it up tomorrow.